Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we explore the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Milan K, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced, the lessons learned, and the strategies fueling future growth. Today, I'm absolutely thrilled to be joined by Kathy Laucius, a certified personal trainer and founder of The Time Is Now Fitness, who delivers online strength training, cardio programs, and customized nutrition counseling to help clients maximize gym time and build lasting habits. As a former national NPC figure competitor, she draws from her own 25-year diet rollercoaster turnaround and training experience since 2006 to coach busy professionals and moms. As an author and speaker, Kathy tackles psychological traps in fitness, offers strategies for working individuals, and motivates through corporate events and her book on ditching the diet roller coaster. With that being said, Kathy, let me officially welcome you to Founders Future.
Great. Thank you so much. Happy to be here.
It's great to have you. I think we're bound to have a good time. This is going to be a great conversation. So let's just jump right into it. What I love to do with all of my guests is a bit of traveling back in time. So before you even had this company, what was the journey like? What were you doing before? And then eventually, what motivated you to start a business?
Yeah, so my journey started right after college. I had a 12-year sales career, marketing career, and then started a family. So I spent several years at home with my kids while they were young. And it was really while I was home with my children that I started embarking on my own journey. And as you mentioned in the introduction, I struggled almost my entire life with my weight and my diet and exercise habits. And so it was when I was home with the kids that I tried to make a more concerted effort. And so I joined a gym and started doing things, but realized that I had some major things in my lifestyle that I needed to overcome. And so once I realized that I didn't have to have Monday as my favorite day of the week anymore, that it was more about making this a lifestyle, I just really dove in and didn't even know that about my personality. I just went all in on the research and nutrition and things. And then, of course, that just inspired me, like many other stories, to want to get out there and help others.
I love this. And also with you stepping into the world of being a business owner yourself, I'm pretty sure that journey wasn't linear neither. So I'm pretty sure there was a lot of adjusting along the way. But when it comes to this, my goal coming into the next part of the episode is really build some clarity for the listeners in terms of where that journey got you. So in terms of what the business looks like today, who is it exactly that you're trying to help right now? And also, what are those core offerings that you have in place for your clients?
Yeah, so my main focus just does tend to be women. That's because they seem to respond. I've trained many men, and I have one of my longest clients in person training right now happens to be male. So it really just depends, but I do want to reach more women, and that is my main focus. And so my core offerings are either in person or online. I'm open to both, just depending on the time. And honestly, it's really hitting those women since I'm approaching my late 50s. It's really hitting those women who are getting into their 40s and watching their bodies change and seeing hormone things and not really sure what's going on. And so my main focus is to help these women learn how to navigate so that they can advocate, if that makes sense. And going into the physician's office and saying, I don't know what's going on. I can't put my finger on it. I don't feel good. I know that I can go into a physician's office and say, don't tell me to eat right. Don't tell me to sleep more. I do all these things. And so you need to know how to navigate so you can advocate. And it's more about empowering. So my offerings, obviously, nutrition, counseling, personal training, all those kinds of things. But I do approach it from more of a lifestyle angle.
I love this. When it comes to the structure, would you say that everything that you do is based on a one-on-one time with you, or have you also dabbled into like group coaching models to have something more scalable, or what is your perspective on this?
So I've done both. And just depending on, it's such a great question because I really think at the end of the day, it comes down to not the trainer. Don't try to fit the client into your model. You have to fit to the client's model. And so some people will respond well within groups. And so in the past, I've said, if you think that works for you, Even better, find me 3 of your friends and let's roll. Or there's people who want that one-on-one attention. This is their time and you have to respect that. So
Absolutely.
it really depends on the client.
Absolutely. So it really is about you meeting exactly where the client is at and making sure that the journey is customized. Now, yes, this is indeed a very interesting question, especially if you look at how your industry is evolving over the past few years. There's
Yes.
a lot of professionals who are intentionally pivoting towards group models just because of the fact that it's not only beautiful from the perspective of impacting a lot more people, but also with your one-on-one time, there's only so many things that you can do. So
Right.
then it comes to the big question of scalability and how am I going to be in a position to keep growing and scaling? So when it comes to this specifically, I'm also curious, what is your thought process in terms of what the scalability model is going to be like with your own company to achieve that constant growth?
At this point, I'm always looking for the growth, but I'm probably not the typical answer where I'm looking to secure 10 clients in X number of months. I'm looking more for optimization and how I can build that stronger community. And so I always say growth doesn't necessarily mean more, it can just mean better. And so I very much like working with women in groups. And so I would want to be gearing more toward that. I've done workshops in the past. I've done the speaking engagements where we get that community together. And I love watching somebody just blossom from not knowing how to read a food label
Mhm.
to going into that next part of their journey because all of it is so empowering, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make a lot of sense though. And also, let me look at the backend side of the business with you. Obviously, at this point, this is clear to you. When it comes to this podcast, if it is regarding marketing, sales, operations, strategy, we want to share that with the audience. So, in terms of you having the ability to still onboard new clients, keep changing lives, what is it that you do with your own marketing and maybe specifically generating those contacts and leads to make all of this happen?
Excellent question. And I spend a lot of time in my community. I do volunteering. I partner up with different professionals, whether it might be a functional medicine doctor who's looking for that referral for strength training, things like that, that they're trying to make their program be more complete as well. And so I'm more old school in the sense where I go out there and I shake some hands and eye to eye contact. I'm not very active on social media. I have had those phases in my career where I would, when I was competing, I would share a lot of that. And I've just found, quite honestly, that just because you post a recipe every day isn't going to make your DMs go crazy. And so I'd rather spend my time out in front of people. And if that means that I'm not securing so many people in so much time, but I'm qualifying them face to face, and I've learned over the years that's, especially in this business, that's very important to get to that right away.
Absolutely. At the end of the day, it is going to be mainly about the alignment that you feel with the client. Because if they're not
Absolutely.
enough committed to the journey that you provide, there's not going to be enough result. It wouldn't make you that good of a coach. So
Correct.
it goes both ways. I love this, but also we live in today's day and age where not leveraging social media could be harmful to a lot of different businesses. At the same time, it looks like you've successfully built a different structure where you leverage networking, working with other professionals, having those strategic partnerships. So I'm just curious, how big of a part does social media really play when it comes to your strategy in the future? Do you feel like you're going to have to explore that a little bit more? Do you feel like you're going to be able to work with what you have in place? What is your perspective?
My perspective is that I'm going to have to work with it more, absolutely, depending on the different offerings and making myself more visual. And since that is the goal, and yes, there absolutely, and it would be wonderful to get to a point where you can find somebody to manage that for you. No, I do believe in the importance of it. I actually have a Facebook group. I have a Facebook, the Time Is Now Fitness page, has almost 5,000 people on there. And I've been guilty of, like I said, different phases of where I'm more active and posting things than not.
Absolutely.
So as I would tell my own clients, consistency is key. So I need to be more consistent.
Yeah, I was literally just having a conversation about this yesterday, and I was talking about the fact that when you hear somebody say that, it sounds like a cliche, but at the end of the day, it is really the truth. Like consistency is the key. No matter what we talk about, That is the answer. So I love that.
Exactly.
Now, when it comes to this, you just mentioned that eventually you can see hiring somebody or getting some help in terms of managing all of that. Does that mean that so far you've been running this as a one-woman show?
Absolutely. Yes. I've had people in the past help me. Oh, a client, you can barter with a client, right? And say, hey, this is what I bring to the table. I can help you with this. So, yes, I have utilized people in the past. I am the rare. I have the sales background where, most salespeople are considered messy and unorganized, where I was actually just the opposite. And so my desk didn't fall all over the place with paperwork. Where I'm going is I am very organized, disciplined, and thus far I've been able to manage things myself.
I love this. Kathy, when you look into the future, when you think about the vision that you've created for the company and its impact, what are, especially if you think about maybe just the next 6 to 12 months, what would you say really are those biggest targets for you? The biggest goals, revenue you want to hit, milestones, whatever comes to your mind.
Yeah, so my goal would be to get more into the workshop space, more with I've even thought about a second edition and an update to my book, things like that. So it would be more of a personal growth strategies that I believe always make the dominoes fall. And so it's not so much about securing the clients, but more about that personal growth that can keep me visual, out there, and pertinent.
Absolutely. What would you expect in terms of something standing in the way? Or when you think about this kind of growth that you want to see for yourself, what do you expect to become the biggest challenge in that?
Probably like everything, it's yourself. Really, the only thing and standing in your way. We all have distractions and commitments and things, but really, the old saying, if it's meant to be, it's up to me. So I would put that on myself first and foremost.
Yeah. What is your, have you maybe have you had to overcome this type of situation where you just had that moment of reflection and you're like, oh, Jesus, actually, I'm the one standing in my own way. And what was that situation about?
Well, it's if I when I look back on ways that I could have changed up my training or changed things, I would, for me, standing in my own way would have been taking on the clients that maybe just weren't ready
Mm,
and understanding that I can't be everything to everybody. And that, like with any relationship, you have to take a step back and say, is this working? Is this working for you? Is this working for me? And so those would be moments where I was so busy trying to take a client to the promised land that I didn't take a step back and identify maybe this just isn't the right time and place for this client.
yeah. You know what? I feel like you have to reach eventually a certain level of maturity in business to have these moments and reflect on it in a healthy way. So I definitely, it makes a lot of sense. And let me ask you this. You've been in the industry for a lot of years now. So if you could maybe travel back in time and think about yourself at the very beginning of this journey as an entrepreneur, what would be the best piece of advice that you would give to yourself?
It would be less is more. Again, try not to be everything to everybody. I've heard a lot of trainers complain about burnout because they took those 5 a.m. clients or they took the 8 p.m. closing the gym clients. And I actually never did that. I set those boundaries early on, but it would be more that sometimes just as much as you want to help them, they're just not in a space or in a place where they can respond. And it's learning when to walk away because you have to preserve your mental energy as well. Because as at the end of the day, as a trainer, you're not getting paid unless you're training. There are no PTO days, there are no vacation days. So you can overextend yourself, but it's learning how to look at the relationship and know when it's serving you and when it's not.
Absolutely. I love this. Now, Kathy, let me ask you for another final piece of advice because one of the biggest things that we typically discuss when it comes to the fitness industry is how much noise there is out there, right? There is a lot of professionals in today's day and age. So if there is somebody listening to this podcast right now and they're just trying to get into your industry and make it successful, what would be your advice to somebody like that?
That's a great question because I would advise the people, the trainers, to respect the client in the sense where they're coming in and they are coming in more educated in the sense that they know the buzzwords now because of social media. They know what macros are, they know what cortisol is, they know the buzzwords, but they're more confused than ever. And so you have to sit down with that client and you have to manage those expectations. And I'll tell you what sets you apart right away for being a better than average trainer is not only letting the client know what you expect of them, but letting the client know what they should expect from you. Your trainer should be on time. Your trainer should not be social in the gym. Your trainer should not be on the phone while they're in the gym and training you. So I've seen clients go, "Oh, wow, I've never had this explained to me before." Exactly. So you can set yourself apart by being trustworthy where there's just so much noise, yes, in this space. Set yourself apart and be the relationship guru in the sense of set that trust and set those expectations right from the get-go.
Yeah, I would agree. And Kathy, this is what I love about talking to people like you, where there is so much experience that you're bringing to the table that when you essentially find a way to cut through that noise and actually show people who you are, what you stand for, and what you can deliver, people like that. So,
People do, and they don't even know they love it until you tell them.
yeah, true. Kathy, I absolutely love your journey. I love your energy. I feel like you're going to continue impacting a lot of lives. So, at this point, let me just say thank you so much for taking some of your time today and sharing this beautiful story with me and the listeners. And if anybody from the audience would like to reach out to you and maybe even work with you, where should they find you?
Yeah. So thank you again for this opportunity as well. I very much enjoyed it. So the best way to reach me would be through my website, which is thetimeisnowfitness.com. And you can also email me at Kathy@thetimeisnowfitness.com. But there's a lot of information on my website. So I would encourage to start there first.
Beautiful. Thank you again. It was a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you.
Now, to our listeners, if today's conversation inspired you as well, make sure to subscribe to Founders Future on your favorite platform. And also, if you're a business owner, more specifically a consultant or a coach, or you have an agency and you're trying to scale the business and really enhance both your sales and marketing efforts, also visit closers.io, get in touch with our team, and discover how exactly we scaled our company from zero to over 30 million per year in less than 3 years. Until then, keep on crushing it, and I'll see you on the next one.